this is why we're saying it's like the abstract notion of the feeling of the spirit of the creator need to go into a particular state, a particular place, a particular ecology, in order actually to fulfill its coming back, or its is fulfilling the mission to come back with a notion, with a consciousness of that body, a will to receive, that it needed to be in contact with. So we have three levels. We have the level of the personal consciousness, the level of a group of inclination of the spirit, and a place. So we have three states and three lines. So even if you look at the story of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we see that Abraham is coming from out of Israel into Israel, which is saying climbing and establish through the branch a connection with the root, with Olam Atzilut, with Shekhinah, which is Malchut of Atzilut, and go deal with not only the ecology, the personal ecology of how to be able to have any relationship, any discourse with a higher, but you have to establish a different reality, an ecology of moral reality, meaning to establish a nation that will act according, that will be a reformed body in which this mission of all spirits can reveal itself. And you need to be in a particular place, because a particular place that this can happen in Olam Atzilut, where the spirit can actually complete themselves, need to be in relation, as an echo to a specific branch place or an ecology. So we can see that Abraham is going into the place. Isaac is not actually moving a lot. And Jacob need to go out again in order to come back. So the three of them actually constitute the whole possibility of the spirit being co-creator. And therefore, this is why Abraham, in his name in Hebrew, is actually sort of an acronym of when things were connected in creation, meaning the outcome of the creation was a connection, which is the outcome of the relationship between heaven and earth, which is the definition of a spirit, gave birth to a consciousness that can co-create, which is called Abraham, Behi Bar'am. Okay, so this is a whole circle. So one can say that the story, the true story of what is possible for a spirit to become a co-creator starts here, with it awakening and going from everything that was the ecology of its perception. Okay, so this was an introduction to what we're going to actually explore with the three levels that we need to explore with Zohar in this portion. It's not the purpose of, it is the purpose of spiritual work. Yeah, so it has to deal with purity and sanctity. Yeah, so in order to get purity, one should actually reject from itself everything that it has as a perception of a personal religion or a personal contact with a higher. So it's the same. The purpose of the work is first to make space in oneself, not for not for the perception, even if I think that it is a very high perception or a spirit perception, actually you need to evacuate itself and to move away or to go forth from this state. And this is where the purpose of work and this starts, because it is say in Zohar Lech Lecha, Rabbi Elazar said, Lech Lecha, meaning go you forth, or another translation should be, and to Abraham God said, go for yourself, out of your country. Okay, so here it is translated, Rabbi Elazar said he's starting, and Rabbi Elazar, if Rabbi Elazar starts, we're going to get the state of how it should be, or the full view of how it will come to be at the end of Reformation, of the end of Tikkun. Okay. So the end is connected to the beginning, and the beginning is Lech Lecha, go for yourself, to reform yourself, not to refine yourself, but to reform yourself, to perfect your rang. I mean, the state that you are in your spiritual perception. Lech Lecha, you are not to stay here among the wicked. It's not others, it's among your wills to receive, one can say, which can reflect them, or they are, one can say, state themselves as well with everything that is gathered around you. Okay. The mystery of the matter of Lech Lecha, for the blessed Holy One, granted Abraham a spirit of wisdom, so he discovered and tested the conduit and the inhabited world, and he contemplated them with a balance, meaning with a will. The balance is the will, till he knew the powers appointed throughout the world. And when he reached the central point of habitation, it means the parsa, meaning it's not to stay in being satisfied, one can say, with a state of reaching the point of adhesion. You cannot stay only with your right side of adhesion, because then you are not fulfilling, actually opening a space of the will to receive, in order for more of the Creator, more of the light of the Creator to be able to extend itself. So actually, grace has to fight against its nature to sort of run back to the source and work on the opposite to its nature, to extend itself lower. So it, in a way, to change the direction of moving. And as well, he cannot stay with the left, meaning pulling the light to oneself. You need to somehow find a way of combining those two. Yeah. Meaning that any spirit need to overcome its tendency to actually adhere to, or devote itself completely to be with the Creator. It needs to stay there as a will, but in order to serve it right, it needs to extend itself to the opposite nature of itself, which is the will to receive. And somehow, to be able to salvage from the will to receive all those parts that can actually glue it themselves to it and then move it up together. Okay. So actually just wishing to have this kind of a revelation or to be swallowed by the light, this is not the purpose of creation, and this is not the will of the higher. So, you know, in a way we find in Abraham the first battle of actually how to purify something that you're sure that is the most pure thing that you can feel or want. So it's always the opposite of what we think. So for something that is so attached to the speech or to the language of adhesion or of religion, someone is saying to him, go and put yourself and even sully yourself or put yourself inside the dirt of the actuality of living, or of existing. Yeah. So it's very messy. As you know, politics and establishing a nation is very messy. Okay. Everyone prefer not to establish a group or to work with a will to receive. One always prefer to find oneself in a state, in a higher consciousness state, without the obligation to actually deal with existence. But the edict of the spirit is to go and establish a connection, because otherwise it does not fulfill its mission. Okay, is it